Hello there, welcome to another wonderful episode of the 40+Woman with Busola Jegede. For those who are joining us for the first time, this is an informative program. It's a program of enlightenment for a special demographic of women. You may say, why 40+? Because attention is not given to this particular group of women. Most times, these women, as we grow older, we find ourselves in certain situations which we don't have answers to. Now, on this particular episode called Bouncing Back, we're featuring a guest who has been through life and standing strong. We showcase women who have passed through certain situations in their lives so that we can learn a lesson or two. The 40+Woman has brought to you various episodes in the past, teaching women on how to be financially literate, teaching us on legal matters concerning our marriages, on being strong parents, parenting in the 21st century. So many awesome topics we have shared on this program. And so I don't want you to move a muscle. Don't change that dial. We'll be right back. Hello there, my name is Busola Jegede. I am a John Maxwell certified coach, a consultant, and a chartered accountant. For over 15 years, I've been working with women, helping them to discover their purpose, their vision, holding their hands, seeing them through turning their visions to profitable ventures. And it will be a delight to work with you. Do you feel unfulfilled? Do you feel that there is more to your life? Do you have a story to tell, a book to write, a vision to birth? Are you over 40 or 50? I can assure you that the second half of your life can be better than the first half. Why don't you sign up for my one-on-one coaching session or a strategy session? It will be a joy to work with you to reinvent yourself, to birth a new you. Welcome back. And on today's episode, titled Bouncing Back After a Major Setback, I have a wonderful woman, a beautiful lady, young lady, who suffered the loss of a spouse. And what happened is what most people find devastating in life. It's my pleasure to bring to you today on the 40+Woman, Mrs. Toyin Falayajo, the Managing Director, Tender Hearts Nursery and Primary School in Lagos and in Port Harcourt. Mrs. Falayajo, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Ma. So glad to be on the 40+Woman program. Thank you.
So, Mrs. Falayajo has 3 daughters. 2 are currently undergraduates in the university, and I believe 1 is set to enter.
Yes, Ma.
So you're three Charlie's angels.
Yes, Ma.
So tell us. I want to first thank you for obliging us.
Yes, Ma.
Because it's not a very easy topic we're talking about, but we must always learn. How did you feel when you lost your husband in 2019? Because everybody knew both of you to be like 5 and 6. You had a good marriage, a testimony marriage. How did you feel?
Thank you so much. And I just want to say it has been the grace of God all the way. Because it was not something that happened based on being ill for a while. You know, if somebody has been sick for a while, you know that you can be prepared and say, oh, maybe something's going to happen, it's going to pass. But his death came suddenly. And this happened on the 13th of October, 2019. It was a Monday morning, and he was getting ready for work. And, you know, he had called his mom, sending a message to his siblings concerning his mom's nurse and all that. And he just said, okay, he just wanted to rest a while before getting ready for work. And he had his bath, and then all of a sudden he just called, sweetheart, sweetheart. I was like, the way he's calling me, what's happening? So I went to him, I said, sweetheart, the way you're calling me this morning, are you okay? He said, yes, but something has happened. And I was like, something has happened? What has happened? He said, just hug me, hug me. And as I just held him and hugged him, he just started collapsing in my arms. And I was wondering, why are you collapsing? So the bathroom, of course, is close to, is just in our bed, right at our bedroom. So I just took him to the carpet in the bedroom. And I laid him down. I said, sweetheart, what's happening? And he goes, I don't know, but something has gone wrong. And you know, I still remember that day. I was still thinking, what actually is happening to him? I couldn't place my fingers on it. I quickly called my pastor. He wasn't picking. I called my female pastor, who is right here beside me, you know, Apostle Busola Jegede she quickly picked the phone. And she said, I know you. You don't like going to the hospital. Quickly move him to the hospital. Because he hasn't been sick in the 21 years of our marriage. I haven't seen my husband sick, you know, being in the hospital. So it wasn't the hospital that came to my mind. And I were just praying. And, you know, I checked his BP like you told me. He said, check his BP. I checked. And it was normal. But I had to quickly move to the hospital. And, you know, it was quite a distance from where we lived in Ajah, Lagos, Nigeria, down to the VI area and all. But in all of this, because he had to have an operation twice, the day we got there, which was Monday, he had the first operation. After he came out the next day, Tuesday, they sent him in for another operation. And he didn't come out of that operation. On Wednesday, they declared him dead. And it was like my world just collapsed. Could this be real? You know, it was just something else. But it has been the grace of God all the way. I really want to say that because it wasn't easy. Like, you know, he was a great man. He was a lover. He was caring. You know, he was just everything.
Kingdom man.
He was a father, a husband, and a priest. My children loved him to bits. You know, we have 3 girls. They were all over him, myself. So everything was like, what's happening? But we thank God because it's just been his grace.
Now, watching you in that period, we saw you exhibiting a kind of strength. And that's what we want to talk about. How did your husband prepare you for the way you carried out? I'm not saying he knew he was going to die, but typically when a man dies, a lot of things go wrong in the family. Finances are down. He was the major. He was working in in an oil company also.
Yes, ma'am.
You were still running a school.
Yes, ma'am.
So he was the major financial partner with children in the university. Your family had a building project.
Yes, ma'am.
And we saw you carrying on without help. How were you able to achieve this?
Okay, thank you so much for that, Ma. First of all, I'd like to say that when we first met in 1994, then I was just in the church. You know how you just go to church and you're not really in church. You're in church, but you're not really in church. And then he just walks up to me and he came with his pastor to minister. And a week later, he just says, he was sitting close to me and then I'm going to be his wife. And I was wondering, what kind of person is that? I don't even know you. Where are you coming from? And I'm like, I'm just in 2nd year of university. I'm not looking at getting married at all. He said, I'm going to wait for you. And I'm like, how long are you going to wait for me? He says, whenever you're ready. I said, I'm going to finish my university. I'll go to NYC. And he says, I'm going to wait for you. And that was exactly what he did. And so, you know, I married him as someone who, he was already a pastor. And then that was really what I was dreading because I had just given my life to Christ and I was not stable. I was still trying to get my balance in the faith. But his coming into my life strengthened my faith. He drew me closer to the Lord. And that is the foundation on which I stood even up till now. And basically, because of the foundation that he laid for myself and for the children, even when he passed suddenly, I just knew that this was someone who was so connected to God. He was a lover of God. With all his heart, with all his mind, with all his strength.
He wasn't a man you were begging to go to church. Like, you know, because some women beg their husband to go to church to pray.
Yes, at all. He was even encouraging me, encouraging the children. Anything that had to do with God, he would sponsor me wherever I want to go to, just do the work of the Father. And so when he passed, that was a trying time for me because the enemy wanted to use it to shake my faith in God. And I just had to encourage myself. I just told I just knew that this man he's not gone. He may be dead physically, but his spirit is alive. And I knew that he was in a better place. I had to just tell myself, Toyi, God loves you. God loves your children. He hasn't left you. He's with you. So those things just kept me going. And the kind of support that he had left, because a lot of things began to unfold after he passed. I began to realize that a lot of the documentations that he was doing, even without my knowing, carried me along, carried the children along. He had done investments for the children's education. He had taken me as a signatory into all his accounts, and I wasn't aware. So a lot of the things that widows went through when their spouses passed, I really didn't encounter those kind of things in that aspect, because I just began to realize that when I'm in a turning point, I'm beginning to think, oh, how am I going to cope? Oh, these children, a lot of people came and said, you know, you need to change your children's school. Your children are in expensive schools. You won't be able to cope with the fees. Just change their school. And I just knew that God will see me through. And somehow, one step at a time, I would maybe get to the bank, the account officer would say, madam, you don't have any problem. Please, if you need anything, let us know. Your husband has made you a signatory to all his accounts. And I'm like, what? Are you joking?
And you never knew.
And I never knew. So, you know, all those things were able to help me to truly bounce back, even though, of course, it hasn't, no matter what you have.
The children are still growing.
They are still growing and all.
You know, that's an important point, because what we see when life happens is that all sorts of vultures come. And it is the children that suffer. So your children, your two children are in the university.
Yes, ma'am.
And fees are paid.
Yes, ma'am.
To the glory of God. Now, I want you to let us know, what kind of advice do you want to give to women or even men in putting things in order? Because nobody expects this thing and nobody prays for it.
True.
But you have had it smooth sailing. Did you have interference from family?
Okay. So when it comes to members of his family, by the grace of God, I guess the way the kind of foundation that he had laid for his family, they knew he was a family man. They knew he was a lover of his wife and children. So everybody just stayed away. Everybody just left us. I didn't have any harassment from his brothers. He's the first of 4 children. So he has two other brothers and a sister. They've been by me, they've been there for me, they've been caring. I haven't had any issues with them. His father is late, but his mom is alive, wonderful woman also. So I haven't had any issue concerning the family. But you know how it is, just like you said, all kinds of vultures come in and all kinds of things happen. So basically what I found out was that the kind of oppression that the enemy wanted to bring my way was from other close family members and from even people who were close to us in the place where we fellowshiped. Okay. So where I didn't...
Your place of worship.
My place of worship.
Because he was a pastor there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
yeah,
what kind of opposition did you face?
Okay, it was basically, I guess, nobody expected him to die. Nobody, because we were in church on Sunday. We had a wonderful time. He had gone to the branch where there's a particular branch where we both used to minister. I ministered in the church that very day, on the first service, and he had to go out, and then he came back to join us in the second service. We had a wonderful time. After service, he was like, oh, you need to take pictures. I need to take pictures with my wife. And people were like, what's this? He said, no, I need to take pictures. And we had a wonderful time taking those pictures. At the end of the day, we took my daughter back to school that evening. So everybody saw him on Sunday doing very well. So nobody expected him to die. But unfortunately, when the news got to them on Wednesday that my husband had passed, I think it's something that is a rage of the enemy. And I think this usually comes to people that suffer loss. The enemy just is like unleashing on them so that you're truly broken. That's, if you want to die, just die. That's, follow the dead and go.
That's the plan of the enemy.
That's the plan of the enemy.
Will not come to
exactly.
pass.
So
In Jesus' name.
God didn't allow that. And so I found out that the kind of encouragement I expected to have received from my own church was not coming. I really couldn't understand it. And I know that I think it was just the enemy. Because I know that even when they have looked back over the years, I'm sure they don't feel happy about what they had done. Because probably they felt What could have happened? Did she kill him?
Were you blamed for it? Because typically here they blame a woman when anything
You know,
goes
some people may
wrong.
not come and meet you directly, but their actions tell you, maybe you killed this man, or, you know, like I had someone from the church who said, she came to the house, why are you not crying? And you know, as at that time, I was still trying to get a balance.
You were in shock.
I was in shock. I told myself, sweetheart, no, my sweetheart hasn't gone. No, he hasn't gone. Maybe he's going to knock at the door. And you know, the next morning, after we had gone to the mortuary, after he had been moved to the morgue, the next morning I woke up at about 5 a.m. I had to leave my house because I was like, this man didn't sleep with me on the bed. Is it possible? So I left for the morgue at 5 a.m. In fact, when the guy at the mortuary saw me, he was like, madam, what are you doing here? I said, please, I came to see my husband. Please oblige me. He said, ma, you won't be able to do that. I said, please, I'm begging you. I just want to spend time with him because I wanted to really understand. Is he really dead? You know? And he obliged me. He brought out the body. He said, you're going to be alone with the body. I said, why? It's my husband. Leave me. And then he just put me and him in the room. And I was just talking to him. I was just looking at him lying down there. Are you gone? Are you gone? I thought you would come back. You didn't come back. And for me, that was a closure. Because I spent time with him. I spoke. I did everything. I prayed. And then after I had spent time, I just left and came back home. And, you know, I was just still reminiscing on things. People would come and see me. But I was looking at people, I wasn't really seeing them. And so somebody from the church said, I came to your house. You're not even crying. Why are you not crying? You should be crying very well. Who is telling you not to cry? And I was like wondering.
People receive news differently. Now, how did your children cope? Your 3 daughters?
Yes, that was for me another striking point which the Lord used to encourage me because that was my first care. We had just dropped my first daughter in school that Sunday evening. My other 2 daughters were in school. So 3 of them had gone to school and the Lord, it happened the very day after she left. And so I was wondering, how are these 3 girls going to cope? Because they were so close to their dad. And the very first thing the Lord did for me was my first daughter when she got the news. She came home and, you know, she cried and she looked at me. She was wondering, Mom, is it true? I said, yes. And I said, I don't even know. I said, but that's the position I'm with. You know, but by this time she got up the next morning, the very next day, she walked up to me. She said, Mommy, the Lord has encouraged me. And I looked at her. I said, what do you mean? She said, Mommy, I don't want you to cry again. And I was looking at her. She said, you know how Daddy feels about you. Daddy is not going to be happy if you're crying. I want you to encourage yourself. The Lord gave me a song. So she sang the particular song that the Lord laid in her heart. She said, Mommy, ask the Lord to give you a song. I think that will also help you. You know, and then my other daughters found out about it. And I saw the way they carried. I just knew that, you know, their dad was more of a teacher. He would not just act the word. He lives out the word.
Exactly.
He was not just a pastor in church, he was a pastor at home. So he had prayed for these girls from the womb, laid his hands on them, anointed them. So the way they came out of it, it was a miracle. They braced up so fast and they just knew that if the Lord allowed this to happen, then Daddy's in a better place. We have to just live our lives and finish well. So based on that, they have just been moving on and being encouraged.
Wow. So the learning point from your story, that what I take away is that your husband built a very strong foundation, relationship in faith, which has helped you in 2 years to be able to bounce back. Not only in faith, practical things he did to secure his family, which is a very important, and you never knew.
Yes,
You never knew. For every 40+ woman out there, no matter what you're going through, I want you to know that God would help you. Focus on God. In the Christian faith, we quote Hebrews 12:2, which says, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher. We've had the testimony of our sister who has bounced back. Now I hear you're releasing a book.
Yes.
Called, what's the title of the book and what's it about?
The Interruption.
Okay.
Yeah, the Lord gave me that word when I was thinking about his death and The very next morning, I woke up and I was like, is this really true? We took pictures, we were happy, everybody was happy. And Lord, all of a sudden, he's gone. What happened? And that word came. It's a divine interruption. God has interrupted it for a purpose. There is a reason. And down the line, I've decided to write this book in honor of him because he was such a good man. I can't stop thanking God. Every day I wake up, I just thank God for him. You know, even though sometimes, of course, there are the tears, you cry, you worry, oh, why is he not there anymore? But, you know, he lived a good life. And the good foundation that he lived is what we're building on today, myself and the children. So I needed to write out this book to talk about his life, also to be an encouragement to other women who may be going through things, an issue like this. It could be the loss of a spouse, it could be the loss of a child, you know. I just wanted to just let them know that they can be encouraged to still live on. You know, that there is still a greater tomorrow. Because that's the word the Lord gave me. That though it has happened the way it happened, as long as I stay with him, as long as I serve him and look up to him, there is still a greater glory. And so I just hold on to that. No matter what anybody's saying, no matter what anybody thinks, I just look at the positive areas of life and believe that the Lord God will come through for us as he's already doing.
And indeed, he does come through for us. Yes, we're going to be right back with our closing thoughts on the 40+Woman. See you in a bit.
Introducing Blissful Honey Beans. Rich in protein and fiber. Good nutrition for your family. Blissful Honey Beans. Hygienically packed in 2 kg and 1 kg packet. Stone-free and weevil-free. Pour straight to your pot and cook. Stress-free and convenient. Order online and it will be delivered anywhere in Lagos. For other locations, call 070-8307-6210. Blissful Honey Beans. No stress.
Welcome back, and we're wrapping up on this particular touching episode. For me, I've learned so much. And I believe there's a lesson for everyone in Mrs. Falayajo's story. It's a story of a strong man that even when the winds of adversity blew, the work that that man had done is still standing. Indeed, it's a tribute to a great man. And this is an encouragement for everyone out there. Build your family. Whatever you sow in them is what's going to carry them. Build love. Build them up in faith. So, what are your closing thoughts? What do you have to say to people watching out there?
Okay, I would like to speak first to the men and then women. I'd like to say to men to please ensure that they solidify their homes properly, because you don't know tomorrow, you don't know when anything can happen. My husband had built a proper foundation for our marriage. Our marriage was properly legally done. We were married, church wedding, traditional courts, you know, so everything was in place. And properties that were bought, he bought in our names. Those things are the things that have actually helped me to evolve even today. So very importantly, I want to encourage men to please carry their wives along. Be a support to them even while you are alive, because you don't know tomorrow. Because if you go at any time, you'll be surprised that if things are not properly legally done, anybody can just come in, swim into your home, take everything away, and your wife and children will be stranded. I want to say to women, particularly the 40+ woman, or anyone who loses a child or loses a loved one, or you just have a loss that has put you in grief, that has put you in a depressed situation. I want to encourage you that there is still a greater tomorrow. There is still a brighter tomorrow. Please brace up, encourage yourself. Don't lie in self-pity. A lot of people felt, oh, why are you in church? You're already dancing. So people are even angry with you when they see you happy. They are angry when they see you dancing. Some people look at me now and they're like, oh, she's even looking, why is she looking nice? So people want you to stay in grief. You're going to disallow it. But it's a personal decision. So I want to encourage everyone, please choose to live happy. Choose to rejoice in God every day. Wake up with thanksgiving in your hearts. And I want to assure you, there's a greater tomorrow. Thank you.
There is a greater tomorrow. There is a greater tomorrow. On that note, we'll come back with highlights. Thank you so much for being on this episode. Remember to join us on our Facebook group, The 40+Woman. I'm on Instagram at Jegede Busola. You can follow me or follow The 40+Woman. Bye for now and thank you.
La 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 la.
What a moving episode we had today on The 40+Woman, bouncing back after a loss. Now I want you to know, no matter what happens, God has got your back. Fix your gaze on the Lord. We had so much to glean from the experience of our sister. It's important for men to build up their families. It's important for women to be supportive, to build a strong family, so that when life happens, when the winds of adversity blow, we will not be shaken. Today, our guest has told us how her husband, in his lifetime, built a very strong family. And the foundation he has built is what is carrying them through. Apart from the foundation of faith, you need to put the right structures in place for your family. It's a solemn one, but it's a deep message. That's how far we can go on The 40+Woman with Busola Jegede. See you on the next episode. Bye for now.
Like a diamond in the rough, you were built up to be tough. You were blessed beyond the curse by the power of the curse. So don't give up.